Hello, welcome to our final session of the day. Thanks for joining us. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Rhonda Wynne, who's from Head for Purpose, and also Aoife Duff, who's a recruitment coordinator with For Purpose. We're here to talk about social impact graduate program and all about the various work opportunities that are available with For Purpose. My name is Rory Cavan. I'm the editor of Grad Ireland. I'll be here to facilitate some questions towards the end. But having Rhonda and Aoife here is great, and so I'm not going to take up any more of your time listening to me. So, Rhonda, maybe you just I'll let you kick off your presentation, and okay. I'm here if you need me for questions.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for coming along. I'm delighted to see you here. I know it's the end of the day and people are tired. It's also kind of chilly, so you're very welcome. As I'm Rhonda. I'm the head of the For Purpose graduate program, and my colleague Aoife is our recruitment coordinator. So we're going to talk to you today a little bit about the whole area of social impact and what a social impact career might be, some of the roles that are possible within that, and also a little bit about our program. So the whole area of social impact, are people familiar with it or familiar with the term? It's used more and more by companies, organizations, charities, across a whole range of areas. Lots of people are talking about social impact in a way that is kind of completely changed over the last couple of years, and been, I suppose, the whole COVID situation, the response to that, organizations being aware of how they impact on society. So we'd start with, I'd like to get a sense of what you understand by the term social impact. If you could think of that for a moment, and then Rory, if anybody is volunteer their idea of what they mean by social impact. He's going to take some audience votes for me there. Now, anybody else? We have a gentleman at the front here. Rory.
So I think there are many businesses which are just focusing on making profits. Mm-hmm. In that process, they are completely ignoring the environmental impacts or what it is going to make impact on the people's mind. And also, probably this is to tackle that, and the main aim of this is to sort out that problems and find the solutions if they have any. I think so.
Exactly. We'll talk a little bit about the business side of it towards the end. Perfect. Much. Thank you. Anybody else? Any thoughts on social impact career or social impact? Is anybody studying it in college? Has anybody asked any of the employers here today what their social impact agenda is? No? Okay. Go around, set them up, quiz them on it. Okay. So social impact is about what we all have a social impact on our communities and our environments and how we operate as individuals, but increasingly how organizations, what solutions they can create for society, what kind of social issues they address, and how they improve society and communities around them for the common good and for the benefit of everybody. Typically, this work was in the area of what would have been called the third sector. The third sector is a very large, complicated area in Ireland. It's called lots of different names, and so you might hear it be called by charity sector, voluntary sector, community sector. Organizations are non-profit, they're social enterprises, they're non-governmental organizations. But all of those organizations broadly fit into this area of the third sector. Now, there are legal issues about what they're called, or legal specialities and policy things around the different naming of these areas. People familiar with all of these terms? Okay, so the whole area of social impact would have traditionally been the area of organizations which are broadly under the kind of charity umbrella. That people see them as doing good and being part of society. This is a sector, I'm aware there's a lot of international students here today who may not be familiar with the Irish context. It's a huge sector in Ireland, and it's part of the fabric of every element of Irish society. So you can see 33,000 organisations. This changes depending on whose figures you're looking at. 170,000 employees plus, it's probably higher than this, and a 14.2 billion economy, or 14.2 billion income, rather. So it's a really, really significant player in Irish life. But the whole idea, as this gentleman at the front rightly said here, is the idea of social impact is moving beyond the third sector. It's moving into the business arena and how organizations consider their social impact. So there is are people familiar with the term ESG? Anybody studying business doing ESG? So it's about business considerations, about their impact on the environment, on the social impact, and also governance issues. So environmental issues are obviously very much to the fore, and there's all kinds of reporting criteria for organizations about environmental issues. And governance, there's all kinds of standards about how they run boards, how they operate their businesses, how they report their accounts, their figures, and whatever. The social area is a little bit more woolly, and people can talk about what they do there, sometimes glossing things up about their social impact. But it's actually becoming more of an issue because in terms of investment, and follow the money, where money talks, and more and more, even if you hear ads sometimes for pensions and whatever, they're talking more about sustainable pensions that are making a social contribution. Put your money in like people funds, green funds, all of that kind of area. So and this is all called social impact investing. Now that is the kind of background for where social impact is. So it's not just the domain of the charity sector or non-profits, increasingly becoming a business imperative that businesses have a focus on what social impact they're making and how they do that and how they talk about it. And you see customers and following organizations which are sustainable, have an environmental causes, who make contributions to local communities, are good neighbours, all of that kind of thing. So our programme is now to reflect this change in language, change of where things are going, is the Social Impact Graduate Programme. And we have, through our programme, we work with a lot of people who are interested in this kind of work. We hear from Grad Ireland, their sister organisation in the UK, when they're doing research. They produce great research on the kind of things graduates are interested in and the roles graduates are interested in. And we really hear a lot that graduates are interested in roles that have a social purpose, that they're interested in something that aligns with I see lots of people nodding. People have... they're interested in doing something that they feel aligned to, that has a value, that they feel that they're making an impact. And it's not just about, paying the bills. That helps as well, but they do want to feel that they're making a contribution. So some of the roles that are available we can talk about, but the sector is huge, and I think there's a perception that people are working in charities, they're not getting paid very well, they're going around still shaking buckets, trying to make a bit of money. But there are actually huge opportunities within the sector to have a really meaningful professional career, working with very talented people, very skilled people in a whole field of areas. So it's possible to have a professional career in an area that you believe in and in something that you have that you could see as a cause that you would like to contribute to. We were at an event recently, the Leadership Academy, which represents the whole non-profit sector. It's to try and develop leaders in the area. Every possible profession was represented there. We were at a table with solicitors, there's accountants. So if you have any specialist skills, you don't have to go into the corporate giants. You can go into some of these other areas and use your skills in these particular organizations. The organizations that are working in this kind of broad social impact area are looking for graduates. They're looking for talent. They're keen to get people into the sector. They see the value of bringing graduate talent into the sector. They see the idea, all the people who are here today, new perspectives, new ideas, the different skills you can bring in, the value of having been in college recently, doing teamwork, all of the projects that you're working on. Don't underestimate your skill set that you have to offer when you're bringing into organizations. People come with enthusiasm, and particularly the kind of if they have an instinct or something within to work in an organization that they believe in. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to my lovely colleague Aoife, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about the program we run.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about For Purpose today. So our main idea on our program is that we will bring in graduate talent, we will help them thrive, we'll support them in their role, and we will help transform the non-profit sector. So there are three main elements to our program. The first one is a 1-year paid employment with a non-profit organization, and I will come back to some of the roles and organizations we work with shortly. Next is mentoring. So you will be paired with an independent professional established in the sector, and you will attend monthly meetings with them. It is confidential, and you can speak to them about navigating office politics, learning about the sector, or even starting to plan your career. So it's a great kind of way to kind of tease out any issues you're having. And then lastly is our monthly learning seminars. They take place in our office the second Tuesday of every month. And they range from guest speakers, workshops, and kind of peer learning. We have our For Purpose Tuesday next week, and we have 2 graduates who are coming to the end of their role, and they're going to talk a bit about their experience and what they've achieved so far in their career. So some of the roles and organisations we work with, is anybody interested in housing? So we have a housing officer and a digital engagement officer in Cooperative Housing Ireland, and we have a data analyst in TUA Housing. Or you can work in youth and community development. So we have human resources programme coordinators in Froga, and we have a youth voice and engagement officer in Jigsaw. So these are just some of the examples of the roles and organisations that we work with, but there are many more that we work with. So now this is just a quick video of Gavin. Gavin started on our program last January as a program coordinator. He has since been promoted to strategic and development officer, and he is currently developing Froga's next strategic plan. So I don't know how you play that. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Gavin, and I joined the For Purpose graduate programme in January 2022. And since then, I've been working as programme coordinator for Ferogi's Leadership for Life programme. I'm now moving into a new role in strategy planning and development. My role within Ferogi involves the coordination and administration of the Leadership for Life programme, as well as supporting the broader Leadership for Life team as much as possible. I've really enjoyed this role, and it gave me an opportunity to meet so many different people and be involved in so many different experiences and opportunities. I've enjoyed working in this role for so many different reasons. The one highlight would certainly be the organisation and planning of the annual Leadership for Life conference. This conference brings together over 200 young people from across the island of Ireland, a truly inspiring and uplifting week. The transformational impact of the Leadership for Life programme is endless.
Okay, so our roles, we recruit roles on an ongoing basis throughout the year with immediate starts. So you apply for a specific role with a CV and cover letter, and then we will invite a number of people to attend a screening call, and from there a number of people will then be selected for a panel interview with the organisation, and a candidate will be appointed from there. So what is the value of a graduate programme for students? Well, it gives you a foot in the door, it gives you access to the sector, and you can learn quite a lot. You can develop your skills and learn new skills, and develop a professional mindset. So Amy is a graduate on our programme. She is a recruitment coordinator with 2 and 3, and in this video she speaks about the value that the programme has had for her.
Hi, my name's Amy, and I joined the For Purpose graduate programme with 2 and 3 in January 2022. I applied for the assistant recruiter position with 2 and 3 because I wanted to learn all about the non-profit sector and work with mission-driven organisations. I was promoted to recruitment coordinator in July of this year, and since then I have gained a lot more autonomy in my role and have been able to lead out on all aspects of the process, from initial client meetings to the final reference checks. My experience of the For Purpose graduate programme has been overall very positive. I don't think I could have gained this much experience and been given this much responsibility at such an early stage in my career had it not been for this brilliant grad programme.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm almost finished. I'm just going to leave you with some broad kind of insights and tips for any roles that you apply for in the future. So, what are employers looking for in a good candidate? Well, they're looking for a sufficient cover letter and CV. They're looking to see that you've put in the effort, that you're interested in their role and that organisation. So by putting in the time to say why you want to work for them, you can show that you're serious about the role. They are interested in systematic thinkers, people who are able to talk through processes from beginning to end and the role they played in them. The team player is somebody who is able to work well as part of a team. And then organizational skills, teamwork, communication, analytical skills, a willingness to learn new IT systems, new skills, and a role kind of and an organization that you are interested in the role and you're aligned to kind of the values of that role. And then just some tips for applying. So do your research, research the organization, find out something you want that makes you want to work for them and state it in your cover letter. Know the job spec, read the job description. Employers put a lot of time into developing them and you can actually learn quite a lot about the role just by reading them. And it's really helpful as well when you're going to write your cover letter to know what the job entails, and then for an interview in the future, it's very helpful. Keep your cover letter and CV short and sweet. We would recommend a 1 page with 3 paragraphs for a cover letter and approximately 2 pages for a CV. Be yourself. Use plain, simple, clear language. Don't use a thesaurus. Just be yourself. And then lastly, use a variety of examples. I know a lot of people like to use the same example. Maybe you're really proud of it, or you've got a good grade, but there's a variety of examples you can draw on. There's university, any part-time work, volunteering, sports. So try and vary those examples as it will, employers will appreciate hearing different sides of you. So please follow us on social media and keep an eye on our website for any new roles. And any questions? Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much for your time. Anybody, any questions for us, either about the careers, the programme, just generally moving forward after college into kind of maybe a social impact area?
So I'm doing business analytics. It's a postgraduate course in DBS. So I'm in my second sem. So I want to do my thesis in the next sem. Okay. After 2 months. So is there any what do you call that area where you take the students and we can do research together, something like that?
We don't have internships at the moment, but can I say a lot of the organisations that we work with, and there was a really big sector report done last year in terms of the needs of the sector, and data analytics is a huge thing because a lot of organisations, they don't have massive IT departments. They maybe they don't have that new skill set, and it came up about the value of getting people in. We've just, for example, appointed somebody in as a data analyst in Tua Housing because they're growing. They're trying to respond to the obviously the housing crisis, and they have vast quantities of data about their houses. I learned a huge amount doing the interviews on how you organise maintenance checks on houses. When you've got thousands of houses across the country, how you keep the pipeline going so that you have a plumber in the right house in the right estate on the right day. Mightn't sound like the most glamorous data analytics to be doing, but it's really valuable work. So those kind of roles, if you just keep an eye out, follow us, if we will be posting about it. But the sector really needs those kind of analytical skills, and we see it more and more coming up, that it's creeping into all jobs in terms of how people can interpret the information that's there to provide better services, better value for money, better experiences for service users.
And I suppose one of the most attractive things about this whole sector is that it is that you're seeking skills from marketing, from business, from data, from so many different mindsets and skill sets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that, for example, for graduates who are going into the sector, who go into some of the organizations, you probably get a huge amount of exposure to how an organization runs, much more access to maybe senior leaders. You see a whole variety of different work that's going on. So you're not as liable to be just pigeonholed into one small area. So you might go in doing data analytics, and then that's feeding into strategic planning, it's feeding into finance. You're going to, the roles can kind of mushroom and become quite broad, and you get access to a whole range of skills and insights.
Thank you. Now, in Ireland, within the third sector, what areas would you consider to be maybe the most in demand of people, or just the largest spheres? So, for example, women's rights, refugees, whatever, housing. So, from your perspective, and probably.
Well, the organisations we would do the most work with at the moment, the housing organisations are looking for people. They're expanding quite quickly, and they are. And they're going to be expanding. There's a massive situation that they have to respond to, and they're seen now as the kind of safe pair of hands to get the housing market or kind of housing situation stabilised in some degree. So they're looking for a whole variety of skills. We work quite closely with Foróige, for example. Foróige is a big national youth agency, and they have programs all across the country. They've recently got 2 huge big tranches of funding to run their Big Brother, Big Sister campaign, and another program which is to work with the Guards on youth community arrangements. If anybody's interested in social issues, youth community work, and they recruit. Now, they don't always necessarily go the graduate route, but they're just an example of the kind of areas where people are going in. The disciplines that we see that are in demand, HR is in demand everywhere. People are looking for HR people to try and find other people, and and then obviously if you're a surveyor, anybody who is a surveyor or has any of those kind of construction skills, you are gold. Know your worth. Anything else?
Okay, I think we've got at the time. Anyway, listen, thanks very much to you both for joining us here today for Purpose, and for the great presentation. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your interest and questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you.
Yes.